So the aim of Party in the Park was to create some awareness around youth homelessness, because we held, I guess, our event on Youth Homelessness Matters Day, and I guess just to give youth a free activity during the school holidays to get off the streets and just come along to.
How many years has it been running?
This was the first year. So each year, Youth Week, everyone just puts in a tender or a creative tender for what they'd like to put on during the week, Youth Week. And then, so what we did was say we're going to run a party in the park. Due to changing in funding, we scaled it down a bit and ran it at the PCYC instead of at Newcastle Foreshore Park.
Okay, and would you say it was a success in achieving what you said you wanted to do?
Yeah, so we had about 50 young people come through on the day. So we were hoping, anywhere from 50 upwards. So that would be definitely a success. Yeah. So I guess we were able to engage with those 50 people, talking about what services are out there, seeing what they knew about youth homelessness as well. I guess, and educate them around youth homelessness isn't just young people sleeping on the streets or what we call visible homelessness. It's couch surfing, family breakdowns and things like that as well.
Do you believe a lot of people misunderstand that?
Definitely. So everyone looks at homelessness as that visual homelessness or visible homelessness. So they look at, you see someone on the streets, they're homeless. They never really take into account that a young person may sleep at a different friend's house every night of the week, each friend not knowing that they've stayed somewhere else the night before.
Yeah. And what sort of impact can that have on a young person?
So it can have quite a high impact actually. It's probably even higher than young people that are sleeping on the streets, because they're trying to still maintain a normal functionality of life and trying to go to school, work, whatever they're doing, but without people noticing they have nowhere to go. So it's quite high in Newcastle. So with part of the new reform of the specialist homelessness services, Newcastle was quite a large area, so it got split up into different tenders. But the numbers around that are quite high as well. And
do you believe events such as Party in the Park raise awareness of youth homelessness in the community?
Yeah, and that's not just through, the event, it's through those organic conversations held on the day. I guess the idea of our event was not to have big screens up just blasting the information at young people and putting it right in their face. It was more that organic, let's have a conversation with them, get to know the young person, and then talk about those issues as well.
And have some of those people that went to the day expressed interest in engaging with Samaritans?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a few young people that have further engaged through our intake process, to sort of getting some supports, whether it not being they're homeless yet, they're at risk of being homeless, so family breakdown and things like that as well.
How is Youth Week as a whole, do you think, an effective way of helping young people?
So it does give young people things to do during Youth Week. So I guess it creates atmosphere and activities to have youth out and about doing something, a positive impact on the community.
Do you believe Party in the Park will be back next year?
I'm hoping so. Hopefully next year we'll be able to look at making it bigger and maybe move it back into town, into either Civic Park or Foreshore Park. And again, it just comes back to around working with the council around waiving their extensive fees.
What other ways is Samaritans helping to combat youth homelessness in Newcastle?
So Samaritans, we tendered and were successful with the tender for Newcastle and Lower Hunter for the specialist homelessness services for youth. So we have two what formerly are known as refuges, we call them short-term accommodation, to try and remove that stigma around young people staying in a refuge, because it just seems very negative. And then we also have the whole tender process and the whole program with the specialist homelessness service. So we have some transitional accommodation, we have the outreach support for caseworkers, and part of those we break down as well. So part of our program targets LGBTQI, part of our program targets rough sleepers, so finding youth that are sleeping on the streets and whether getting them into accommodation or working with them while they're on the streets. So we've broke our tender down into many different sections, I guess.